Hello, I'm Michael LaFrance, and I wanted to introduce you to our show. It's our first show. It's before you hit record. And our show is really catered to the event filmmaker, ones who work on everything from weddings to corporate shoots. And to join me, I have two of my good friends and colleagues as well that are in the industry. And so I wanted to kind of give a quick little introduction about myself and about them and about what they do. So Jess, go ahead and tell people about you and what you do.
Hi, I'm Jess. I am an editorial and events and weddings filmmaker in South Florida.
Perfect. And JC?
And I'm Giancarlo. I'm a filmmaker based out of West Palm Beach, Florida. I do a lot of corporate mini documentary and event productions.
Cool. And again, my name is Michael LaFrance. I've been doing this event filmmaking for quite a bit of time, so I've definitely seen quite a bit when it comes to the event industry. Mainly in wedding world, events and things of that sort, but I also do some corporate shoots as well. So, and I think I've also worked with you guys on a couple of productions and shoots as well. So guys, how was your week? What have you been up to? What have you guys been up to as far as projects and what's been going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm working on a couple of projects right now, restorative, kind of doing like a HGTV type video right now that I actually had you working with me. And then some podcasts, actually, some video podcasts for one of my clients.
That's cool.
And then, yeah, events. I'm actually, I work with the symphony, so doing concerts and such.
So like a mixed bag.
A mix of a lot of things and edits from different projects. So yeah.
Things are busy.
Busy.
Awesome. Jess, what about yourself?
Yeah, that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I think a little bit of everything. I was second shooting at a wedding. Helping someone else, and then I've got my own editorial pieces and commercial pieces that I'm working on because, like you guys, we film and we edit ourselves, and I don't know, so it's been a little bit of everything recently.
Yeah, it's been kind of cool because when you can kind of shift around and do different projects at the same time, I find it makes things interesting. I know when there were times where I was just in a rut of just wedding. It can get so monotonous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. For myself, it was kind of an interesting week. It was a bittersweet kind of week. Had to deal with kind of a crazy client. I'm sure we've all had those, And so that was definitely the bitter part. The sweet part is I met with a client that I'll be working with in the new year, coming up next year in March. So they were in town from Canada, so I got to sit down and meet with them for the first time because I think a lot of times, I don't know about you, when it comes to weddings or certain clients, you don't actually meet them until the day of the event, or maybe you never meet them. Who knows? Depends. I mean, some of your commercial shoots, I'm sure it's like that as well. So it's just cool to put a face in and get that energy, and especially when it comes to like a wedding or an event like that. So that was what my week was. So that's good, a little bittersweet, whatever, a little mixed bag. So again, this show here for you guys is really based about event filmmakers. We all, like I said, work in the industry, and what we're planning on doing is to have these videos come out, weekly. So, and every week we'll have a different topic. And what I'm hoping to do is have that topic presented maybe a week beforehand. Maybe set up a phone number, a Google number, where you can leave a voicemail and we can answer some of your questions pertaining to what the subject matter is, or maybe the previous episode, whatever that topic was. So we want this to be very interactive. We definitely want to engage with you guys to let you know what's going on, so you have an idea that we can build this community, because I feel like that's really important, right?
Yeah, sure. And you could also, DM us on our Instagrams. Mine is Indie House Films.
LaFrance Films.
Oh, Jess Nicole Films.
So there you go. It's all of us. So there you go. So feel free to be interactive, because that's really what this is all about. And that's the reason why I wanted to set this up. So for today's topic, I really wanted to get into is the art of networking. Networking is, I mean, like I said, coming from the event world, 2020 was like, it was nuts, because before that time, 2019, 2018, even 2017, things were progressing and getting, you get out there, you network, you do jobs, you're just in that grind of everything, And I felt when 2020 hit, everything just hit the brakes, And I feel like going back into my books, even though we're in 2022 now, going into 2023, I feel like a lot of my contacts, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a lot of them either just like disappeared or just fell off. You know, I maybe fell off. I don't even know. You know what I mean? But have you guys experienced that as well?
I actually had the opposite. I did a lot of virtual things. I did things that, you know, a lot of my work has been word of mouth. I do project for someone and they're like, oh, our sister company or our friends here at this organization want to do a video. They like your work. So I actually had the opposite, but I mean, it also depends on, you know.
What type of industry.
Yeah, what type of industry.
So you were fortunate with
for sure.
that.
Yeah, I know. During COVID, I did a lot of virtual things. For example, I did a gala that was, you know, is usually in person that I did completely virtually. So that was a new thing, and yeah, it was something I could say I do now.
Yeah. So, I mean, how did that come about? Like, how did you approach the gala? Like, how did you pitch it to them?
Well, you know, it's funny because usually an event company sets up the whole gala. So the client was actually the Norton Museum. They had the company that does their galas. And they talked a little bit, and then they are like, oh, you know, we want to do it virtually. And then I do a lot of their work, so they reached out to me, and we made it happen.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. What about you?
Well, yeah, I think it might be a little bit different depending on the industry because in the wedding world, everything pretty much shut down. I mean, I know everything did, but that really was affected. And crazy enough, right before everything shut down, a pretty consistent networking group that I was a part of kind of fizzled out.
Right.
So I was already
because of 2020?
No,
or
like
just
right
naturally,
before, like just naturally.
right,
Yeah, they were needing to. The person in charge was kind of changing what their focus was on and in life, and so ironically, I was already looking for other places to network, and then of course with COVID and the shutdowns. I think everyone kind of froze. So now coming back into it, I think everyone in the wedding industry is very excited to like see everybody, and they want to throw like the biggest parties and just like be very consistent again. And I mean, I don't know about you. Did you find any groups that were deciding to move everything online? Like, were there a lot of Zoom call networking? I don't remember being a part of one, so I don't know about you guys.
Well, I did Zoom calls, but it was mainly for projects, so it wasn't really networking.
You stayed pandemic proof, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
it just happened, you know.
Yeah.
How did that?
I think with me, I did do one event like you did.
I did. I worked with you on it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So there you go. Maybe I got the idea from you. That's probably how I got the idea. But that was for a ballet.
I wasn't, I guess, a part of this.
No. But I'm telling you, it was for a ballet.
Oh, you didn't get the call.
You didn't get the call, but it was
cool, guys.
No, but it wasn't a wedding, but it was a ballet. And what was really interesting about it is that it was an empty theater, empty auditorium,
that's right.
completely empty. And so we filmed it.
Your buddy Travis.
Yeah, you were doing BTS. Yeah, for me. That was right. I remember that. Yeah, so that was one activity. But when it came to events, like my main bread and butter, it was nada. So I felt like as for groups and networking with people and finding out, I just think I went into a shell. I don't know what it was. I honed in and got into like YouTube, and I was like, man, I got this viral video. I need to really get focused in on that. So I didn't really network. And then now coming out of this 2 years later, I really feel like the art of networking, I really need to get better at. And so I know that you're really good at those group things, and you really love, well, I'd see it, you know what I mean? You're inviting me to a bunch of different ones. I you know, you too, yeah. Right. Yeah. So I mean. You're
not getting the invites? No.
No. So has that always been a key to your success for your business? Was that always networking? Was that your main focus and drive? Was that really? Okay.
Yeah, I think like what you said, word of mouth. I think starting out, there were, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, there are a lot of like online publications that people can kind of like sign up for as a vendor, and like, you know, you can pay your monthly or yearly dues to like get the word out.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. But very quickly then, I realized that networking and just being face-to-face and in person with people was just, I don't know, way more beneficial, and it wasn't costing me like an arm and a leg, and any money I was putting toward that, whether it was like getting a ticket or whether it was over drinks or something, it was just like tenfold because that was building a relationship.
I mean, for me, like I always feel like going to networking groups, I feel it's like always kind of awkward.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's always good to just kind of network with people you know, but then again, you don't really grow. You got to keep growing out. And I think it's always about experiences. Like if I had an experience working with this particular event planner, you know, reach out to that event planner and see what's going on with them. Maybe have lunch or coffee or whatever the case is, and kind of build those relationships. Now I know you do more commercial and conference type work. How do you network for that?
Commercial work, honestly, people just reach out, and I technically I could do those things. I came from like a narrative filmmaking background. Then events have been a thing that's just been there, and then documentary work, which I do a lot. I've had a lot of mentors that I've worked with, documentary filmmakers, and they just come up. Everything is word of mouth, or sometimes I even reach out to people, you know. And I think that networking goes two ways. Depends what you're looking for. If you want to work with other creatives, you go to a creative networking event. But if you want to go find a new client, you go to a regular networking event, which usually there might be, you know, another video or photo person, but you'll have a ton of other clients that are not creative, that they need creatives, and that's what you go there for. So that's you know what I say for that. And then because you know, as creatives, we like to go into more, you know, creative things, meet creative people.
Right.
But in reality, I just think, you know, we just need to go somewhere where we're gonna find.
It's like the idea about a big fish in a small pond, or or a small fish in a little pond. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Kind of. No. But what I'm saying is essentially is that if you are going to a networking thing where there's a bunch of creative people, don't expect to land anything really particular.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
If you're going into like a Chamber of Commerce meeting, you're going to be dealing with you're going to be seeing people that are like lawyers or other people or insurance or whatever the case is, people in different fields. Therefore, that might be an easier market to work with versus going to a place where there's like a photographer or another graphic designer or whatever. Exactly. That's what I mean by that.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. You're going to find, you know, maybe collaborate with the other creatives.
Right, of course.
But
it might lead to something.
It's
not going to be a direct.
Exactly.
It's going to be by indirect.
Yeah. So those are the two ways that you could network in that way.
Yeah.
But also, again, like I feel like networking could be, you know, playing soccer with people. Hey, what do you do? What's your name? Oh, you need this? I do this.
Super casual.
That's very casual.
And you have like-minded interests in something, and therefore they'll remember that.
Yeah. Or I mean, another thing is, you know, I love coffee shops.
You do love coffee.
I go to coffee shops. I host trips to Iceland, and in every little town we stop at, there's always a coffee shop that we go to that I know that I'm like, this is the one we have to go to. Yeah. But that's also a great way to network because you have a sticker of your company. Right. Whether it's La France Films, Indie House Films, whatever. You put the sticker on your laptop. You open up your laptop, you edit. Hey, what's that? Oh, glad you should ask. Glad you asked. Yeah, so there's many ways.
You do the same thing. You but not coffee shops. You do co-working spaces.
I was just gonna say, you brought up such a good point because it does not have to be okay. So I've talked with you about this. I will go on Facebook and just kind of go through all the events either happening that week or that are local. And it doesn't have to be something that says like networking event. You know, a lot of places there are like the networking events at hotels, convention centers, you know, maybe they're weekly or monthly. And those are very, you know, whether it's governmental or just business people. I'm always trying to find something. If it looks interesting, I will invite a bunch of friends and see who wants to go, because it doesn't have to be just like you said, a creative event. Sure. Because in that case, you may meet a client, but I mean, it just never hurts to meet new people. It's really kind of, for me, like I dealt with social anxiety a lot a few years ago, like pre-COVID. And then as we were getting back into society, I think I really just overcame that fear, or at least forced myself to expand my horizons, and stretch myself and grow. And it was important for us to get to meet people, because what else were we going to, how else are we going to do it? Now, there are other things I could talk about. I love reaching out to people online. That's another way I network. But in person, it could be like you mentioned soccer. I love like gym stuff, or some of us are involved in CrossFit, and we just get to know people. I've met so many people through that. And then meeting those people, when I'm looking at events on Facebook and want to go to something, I invite all those people. And then they get to know what you do, and they get to know you, then they trust you. Yeah. And I just think it's really beneficial. If you put yourself out there, I know it's like sometimes I get little moments of social anxiety, but in the end, it's always worth it, because you may meet like a really good friend or just good connection. Right.
Yeah, you never really know, like I said, who you're going to meet, or how it's gonna eventually turn out. I think when I first started out, like one thing I did, and I'd recommend this mainly to people who are just starting out, that are just maybe don't have their skill level to where they want it to be yet, but they still know they need to network, and they still know they need to level up in their skill level. I remember years and years and years ago, Rocco's it's a Mexican taco restaurant here in West Palm Beach. And it's located in downtown West Palm Beach on Clematis, and they shut down the street for Cinco de Mayo, and they have like a party and stuff like that. I would go out there with my camera, and this is young LaFrance, so this is not LaFrance now, but when I didn't have maybe enough clients yet, I didn't really know anyone yet, and I still needed to get my skills up, I would go to these events with my camera, film a bunch of things, and then what I would do is I would create my own little highlight, and then I would tag everyone and then reach out to the businesses after. It's not going to guarantee you a job. It's not going to do anything. It's going to do two things, really, I think, essentially. It's going to get you out of your shell. You can get to meet people on the street. Make sure you have some sort of information, either a card, business card, or whatever. And then, you don't know what's going to happen after that, and you get your skill levels up too, as well, as far as shooting and editing. And you may not necessarily do business with Rocco's or another business there on the street, but you might bump into someone there that might be somebody that needs video or photo content, likes what you do, and you don't know where it can go from there. So I would say, I think as a creative or as an event filmmaker, networking is like, it's the bloodline to us, right? Because without that, we really don't have much, and I think we got to continue to keep finding ways to make it not as cringy as it can be, you know what I mean? By making those attempts, whether it be through a like-minded skill like soccer, or, you know what I mean, or just through groups of some kind. I think that's the best way to go. I don't know. I think that's the best way to do networking. So I don't know. Any other ideas or anything else you want to say about networking?
No, I mean, I think networking just, you might land a job, or you might land a new friend. So I mean, that's how we kind of met. Like I was at an event, and then he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, I do video. Here's my little square business card."
You're making it sound very cringy. and they're awesome square business cards.
Yeah, they are.
I still have them.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we met, and then I guess West Palm is pretty small but pretty big, but in the end it's pretty small. And a lot of creatives know each other, so it's nice to meet other people that do creative work. You can hire each other out,
right?
And then second shooters.
Second shooters. That's another topic we're going to talk about sometime. Yeah, second shooters is big, but I like the idea about the coffee shop. I think that's cool. I never knew that's really what you were doing.
Obviously, what do you think I go to coffee shops all the time?
I don't know, man. I don't know why you go to coffee shops. I thought you just go to get dressed up and look good.
No. Not just that, but I have had other clients that I've met clients at coffee shops, and it's it's been nice. You know, I think not when I was starting out, but a while ago, my good buddy and I, we would go to a coffee shop every Thursday. And that was our thing. It was like, we're going to go to a coffee shop for an hour and a half. We're going to work on emails. I don't know. At the time, I didn't have too many projects going on. So we would email people like, oh, here's my portfolio if you're interested in this. And we would do that I think we did it for a year.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Almost every Thursday. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we met future clients there. And we were also working there on getting, meeting other clients virtually.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things. And coffee is good. There's not
Coffee is good. Coffee is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. And what about you?
Well, just like another avenue, a lot of co-working spaces. Again, you are entering a world of possibly just like a bunch of creatives. But also, you never know, and like we're going to talk about in the future, or in a later episode, second shooting, and just how to get connections from that. But it kind of starts with networking. Otherwise, like, how would you meet those people?
Right.
So I know some places around here, if they're a co-working space, they have maybe once a week or once a month where they have like a free day if you're not already a part of it, and you can go for that day or how many hours and just meet new people. And that's another creative, I guess, way, an avenue to meet people.
Yeah, social media is also a big one. I think
yes.
like what you said about you filming outside at Rocco's, I used to do that too with like photography, because not only do I do video, I do a lot of photography, and I would go to different places and tag people. And it's really cool because through that, I've had people like want to sponsor me, like, oh, here, we'll send you this and you can tag us on Instagram or put us on the story or do a reel. And there's just so many things you can do. It's like when you use social media, the possibilities are endless.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, no, that's been really good. So hopefully that helped you guys out as far as some tips on how to network and get out there a little bit more. I think the key to it now is really things are opening up. Obviously, we're way beyond 2020 at this point. And the thing is, yeah, we all have anxiety and we all feel like it's cringy to go up and meet people. But I think if you keep in mind those things that we talked about, whether through like interests or I think those are just really great avenues to go about to meet people and to get out there.
So I think, networking is really, it's great, but you don't always have to pay to join networking groups. You could, like what we said, you can go to cafes, you could meet people playing soccer or basketball or the gym, and then, your co-working space too. I'm sure you've met a lot of clients that way.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a part of that co-working space. Like I mentioned, it could be one of their free days. I know you've talked about the cafes, sporting events, and there's also online. How do you feel about networking? Do you consider that still networking if you're reaching out to people online? Like I do this so often, just DM message someone on Instagram or Facebook, and I've met the coolest people that may not even live around me. Like I've traveled across the state after just DMing a photographer and then ended up having a relationship and friendship with this person and filming a video for them. And that was just because I responded or like commented on a photo, and then we just started messaging. I thought that was so cool. Yeah,
it's actually, I met one of my good friends that you've met through Instagram. Actually, he posted, he did a lot of drone work, and I would be like, oh dude, this is really cool, blah blah blah. We like followed each other. We would like comment on each other's work, and then I was at a shoot in Vegas, and he was also there for the NAB convention. So we were like, oh, we're in the same place. You want to grab a beer? And then we met up, and then yeah, we just talked a lot about video work, and yeah, you know, that was like maybe 6 years ago. Fast forward now, he's been with me to Iceland. His name is Anthony, that Michael also knows. He's also hired him for shoots. I hire Anthony for shoots, and yeah, no, I mean, networking in any way, you know.
I agree.
So
there's
you
so
would
many
consider
ways.
that
Of
still
course.
networking?
For sure,
Okay.
for sure, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that's a way that, and you guys touched on this, like going to an event, filming. You know, you could be trying to get better at a certain way to film something or edit something, and you just need more material. I've done that for wedding events, bridal like events where I'm not like a vendor there. I just am there, maybe filming or taking photos. And then I have all this material that I can put out there and, you know, either tag the hotel or the venue or
For sure.
whoever it may be. I think, yeah, and then you can just converse and...
Yeah. I think tagging people on Instagram or other social medias is just an easy way to network, unless they don't like to be tagged. I have a friend that...
Have you been? Have you been?
No, I never have, but I have a friend who tagged someone, and then I think, was it you that you said like, oh, I tagged these people, and they were like, don't tag me.
I'm not. No comment. We won't talk about that. We'll save that for off air. And yeah.
Anyway, you know, when you go to networking events, you don't always have to feel the pressure to network. You can people watch. That's what I do. I do that a lot. I went to I was at a Sundance Film Festival that they do at Park City in Utah. They have this night, well, a lot of nights that you go to these like venues and you have drinks and you
What
have
kind
your,
of events are you going to?
Sundance is all about networking.
Sundance
That's
is
really,
all about
it's just a
networking.
giant.
Yeah, but they have specific after parties that you go and they're specifically to network. So you have your business card and you go up to other directors, producers. Hey, this is what I do. This is my work. Sometimes you meet some cool people, but sometimes you just have a good time and people watch because it's actually interesting, and you don't feel the pressure of like, oh, I have to talk. I've been to networking places that I meet people. They're like, I've talked to 20 people and I gave my card, and I'm like, I think it should be something more very like relaxing, like just chill, like. If you're at a bar or something and you meet people casually, I think that's what it should be. I don't think you should like force it.
Do you think you should have a card with you?
I think you should have a card with you.
Is a card still the way to go? Now in
Don't
20...
look at me.
I know, you guys are a little bit...
yeah.
Like, I am the
I should
older
have a
guy
card.
here. No, not with you, on you right now, but I'm saying when you go to any type of...
I think you should have something.
You should have
You
something
should have
physical.
something, yeah. Like I have either my business cards, or I have this like magnetic card that you swipe over someone's phone,
Does that work well?
and all of my information pops up on their cell phone, so I don't have to give out cards, but I could do either or, you know. Or sometimes I'm just like, oh, here's my Instagram, all my info's on there, Linktree, which is also pretty good for those things.
Got it.
And I mean, those are my two things.
Because there's times it's always the moment, right, where you like, you wish you had your card on you. Not a networking event.
Right,
You're just like walking down the street, or you're just kind of like just doing whatever. Oh, do you have a card? And you're like, damn. You know?
I like that Instagram route, but I think even more so, I've been looking at, you know, I don't know if we can say the names, but there are things you can put on your phone that you can put over someone else's phone, and it like shows your info. It like puts it on their phone, or there are the cards where you just carry one on you at all times, and that one has, you know, does the same thing. You can like hold it over someone's phone. I really like that, and that's what I think I want to go for.
Yeah. My buddy Yoshi has it on his cell phone, that he just swipes his cell phone over someone else's phone and the profile pops up.
It's so cool.
But I have this one that I had. You could actually put your logo on the card. So I put I put Indie House Films and Exploring Planet Iceland, because those are my two businesses. And then I put the card on top of your cell phone, and then a profile pops up with all of that.
I see, okay.
That's
So
what I saw.
It's really cool.
Because that's the thing I hate, man. It's such a regret. It's like, oh,
Save
I
the
don't have it.
trees,
But here's another,
just use one card.
But here's another thing too. It's like, do you guys feel, even though, you have the I don't even know what they're called, those little tap things, or your business cards, but nowadays, like, what about just, you said Instagram, and yeah, Instagram's cool, but let's be honest, not everyone has a, your Instagram could be flooded with so much stuff.
Right.
And it's cool to I think it depends on the level of that relationship you have with that person. Like if you play soccer with that person, yeah, whatever, they kind of know who you are. But it's just like, I don't know if I want to necessarily share my Instagram, even though it's public, you know what I mean? But I just don't think that's a good representation, not necessarily about myself, but of my work that I showcase. You know
So
what
it
I mean?
depends on,
Depends
you
on
have to know
Yeah.
yourself, if I have a private one and I have a work one. But even so, like, I don't always like to say, oh, just find me on Instagram. I would love to have that card aspect where I can hold it over their phone and they have all the info.
Because you have everything with the card.
But how important is a website now? Is a website like more important or less important? Because I would feel like you have more control, because with Instagram, anything can happen with Instagram. Anything can happen with any social media platform.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that you have a website and you have your Instagram. How many views you think you're going to have on your website in one day and on your Instagram in one day?
Right.
A lot more on Instagram, always.
Right.
No matter what you post.
Right.
So Instagram, it's like that. That's one of the things I use a lot, because I don't post. Yeah, like personally, my Instagram, I use it to talk about, here and there some personal things, but not too personal. Just like, this is me, because as if the clients out there want to see who you are, and then and here's my work too. This is what I do. So that's why I use Instagram. That's like my main thing. I don't use it to like message my friend. I mean, I message my friends, but that's not like the main thing. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you. It depends on how you use it and how you what kind of things you post.
Yeah.
So
I'm just curious about how other people feel about that, as far as,
and like you said, Instagram or Facebook, like you never know what could happen. Having your website, obviously, I think we all know having our website as that landing spot, it's always there. Always good to kind of have that like updated and like up to date. I think everyone is like obsessing over really cool, nice websites right now, so I think that's trending. But yeah, I think it just depends on the conversation, like the age range, what they do. They may not be a social media person, but more of a website, or just like they want to text you, like they want your number. That's where that card would come in really
now
handy.
when you're networking too, and you find out this particular person is either into, like, say it's a wedding, or let's say it's a I don't know, construction project or whatever, they're into construction. Do you, when you try to email them, or when you try, because your Instagram is going to be flooded with all sorts of stuff, it's not going to necessarily be curated to that desire of that particular client. So how do you kind of curate that? I know we're going beyond networking as far as the individual networking thing we're talking about. I'm talking about networking now. You may have not necessarily landed the job yet, but you want to continue to make sure you win this person over. How do you just feed them individual links of projects that you did that are related to what they did, or like how do you go about that?
Well, with me, when I talk to, for example, I mean, the other day I had a friend of mine who does marketing, and she told me that her boyfriend wants to do sports content, like specifically like water sports. I haven't done that type of specific things like that, but I have shot things for boats and yachts, and that's water sport, done a lot of soccer things. So I send her things that are not specifically the same thing, but things that are related to it. And then I'm like, and then here's my portfolio, just in case you want to see everything else. And then most of the time they're like, okay, great. Let's talk about this scheduling.
Cool.
So,
yeah. Same thing with you?
Yeah, I used to have two separate worlds, two different companies, and now it's all one. So they can get, whether it's on Instagram or my website, they can get like a pretty good idea of what my work for them could look like. But I think with everyone, we can, send them something a little more specific, as we continue talking with them. So,
because I always find that would be frustrating. If I was a potential client and I got to dig through, like, I like his stuff, but, and not to beat up clients, but sometimes, boy, it's tough because, they're not creative. I don't expect them to be creative. That's why they hire us, right? So I feel they lack the vision because they can only see things like a particular way. They have to see it finished. They can't see the skills there or that's there. They have to, you know what I mean? They have to compare literally an orange to an orange, not an apple to an orange. Yeah. Even though they're both round and they're both like whatever, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, I'm really bad with these things, but you understand what I'm saying.
Maybe this could be another episode where we kind of dive into how to represent certain work. Maybe it's not yours, but there's Instagram. We can like share stuff on our stories that may not be our own work, but something we're inspired by. I just put that on my story. There's Pinterest where people can see your boards or what you're into. So maybe that could be an episode on how we kind of engage with people.
There you go. See, we got a lot we're talking about, but yeah, it's good. It's good talking about networking. I think we touched on a lot of different things, more than what I thought we were going to talk about, which is always a good thing. So yeah, this is before you hit record, and hopefully you got this before you hit record. And this is Michael LaFrance.
I'm Giancarlo.
Jessica Nicole.
Take care.